All right, we are back. What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Your guys, Cody and Derek, back for another one, guys. Hey, Colts Nation, guess what? Through 3 days of camp, your quarterback has been exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. We're going to talk about Anthony Richardson through 3 days of training camp so far. He has been tearing it up, folks. He has been absolutely accurate, on the money, and been doing some great things. So we're going to talk about Anthony Richardson a little bit in today's episode. Now, I will preface this, Derek, by saying, again, it is only 3 days into camp. So we still have a long way to go. Anthony Richardson still has a long way to go as a quarterback. We are not saying that Anthony Richardson is going to go out there and be the MVP. That's not what we're saying when we talk about this. But we want to talk about it because it has definitely been something of note, Derek, with AR through the first 3 days of camp. So far, through the 3 days of camp for Anthony Richardson, through on the 11 on 11s and team drills, Anthony Richardson is 19 of 25 passing the football, Derek, and only has one interception through 3 practices. So, with that being said, Anthony Richardson has been absolutely on the money so far. There's been multiple days, Derek, where Anthony Richardson has been absolutely perfect in those 11 on 11 team drills, and he has made some big plays to pretty much every single one of his receivers at this point, whether it's Michael Pittman, whether it's Downs, whether it's A.D. Mitchell, whoever it is, he has made plays with these receivers, right? So, Derek, what is your reaction? Because it feels like every time we talk about AR, he has just been exceptional at throwing the football. And it seems like his accuracy and those things that maybe people have kind of thrown as some negatives about his game, at least so far, Derek, he has been completely accurate throwing the football. So what's your reaction to what you've heard so far this early into training camp, obviously, but the excitement of where Anthony Richardson seems to be so far?
Yeah, I mean, remember, this is a guy that just started throwing again back in March, and, a lot of people didn't think he would start throwing again until around May, and we didn't know what kind of Anthony Richardson we were going to originally get in training camp, but, now you have this situation where we heard from Chris Ballard the day before, and everyone's saying, oh, he's got no limitations, none whatsoever. He is good to go. He is healthy as an ox, and it's time to go ahead and just let it rip. And, it so far through the first 3 days, I mean, he has looked the part, Cody. I mean, he has looked the part. He has been the part. He's acted the part. I mean, he's been everything so far that if you are a Colts fan, he has been exactly what you needed. He's had the majority of his throws on target, on time, where they need to be with that rock of an arm he has. And I'll tell you what, Cody, for some of the throws that he's had, I haven't seen him throw up a 50-yarder yet during team drills and whatnot. I don't really think that's what they're trying to do right now yet. But so far through some of the team drills that I've seen and some of the offenses, like the 11 on 11 stuff that they're doing, he has put some touch passes on there that have been very, very good. That's something that we were wondering if Anthony Richardson would have, but this year, so far, he's had really good touch on his throws. So it's been really awesome so far to see what Anthony Richardson's been doing. He looks more comfortable, Cody, and that's all you could really ask for right now.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's what you hoped from Anthony Richardson. Obviously, he didn't have a full season to kind of get a full evaluation and honestly just have time to grow as a player. He just didn't have that luxury. Now, obviously, he had training camp, preseason, and a couple weeks of the regular season, but it's just different, Derek. It's just different. And, we've heard, obviously, how much it tore up AR to not be able to be out there with his teammates. And so, yes, I know, obviously, we talk about how, the live reps are the most important thing, but it definitely seems like Anthony Richardson has been in the film room and he's really been working hard to improve those parts of his game. And albeit the limited amount of, film that he has on himself last year, but it's very obvious that there have been some things that Steichen and Jim Bob Cooter and all those guys have really been emphasizing with AR so far. And it really has shown already just through, like he talked about, with his accuracy. He's somewhere around 80% throwing the football, which is crazy on team drills. And obviously, we'll see what happens on Tuesday when the Colts return to full pads. But on the whole, Derek, I mean, it definitely seems like AR has put in the work to become a more accurate quarterback and to just become a smarter quarterback, to be honest with you. I mean, this is something that Shane Steichen talked about a lot, of just like how AR knows where he needs to go with the ball, right? And we're seeing that already. He's finding those open guys and making big plays. Like you said, there hasn't necessarily been that big 50-yard bomb yet, but for me, I'm like, that's kind of the least of my concerns, right?
Right.
Because that's not been Anthony Richardson's issue. That wasn't his issue coming out of college, right? His issue was the short to intermediate game, right? And it's great to see him getting guys like Josh Downs and, some of the tight ends involved as well. Guys that work across the short and intermediate game a lot of times, right? So it's great to see that Anthony Richardson's improving in those ways. That's definitely just something I'm thinking that was probably a major emphasis for the Colts, was just, we've heard Chris Ballard say it before, and not regards to Richardson, but other quarterbacks, take the layups. Like, it's okay. You don't always have to have, the 50-yard bomb down the field. Like, obviously you love those, and those are important to have, in your arsenal if you need them. And you need the ability to do that, because obviously we know the Colts didn't at times last year, but being able to make the routine plays and be, good in the small things as well as the big things, I think is a big thing for Anthony Richardson, because he's obviously a big play waiting to happen no matter when, you give him the football and he's back there throwing, or he can run it. He can make a big play anywhere. But we know he has the big arm. He did it in college. He did it last year at times. But how does he look in the short to intermediate game? And at least so far, he's definitely looked like, while he's still obviously got, like I said, a ways to go, Derek, he definitely seems like a guy that's put in the work, and at least so far has definitely shown improvement in those areas.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen, I think, the one underrated aspect of Anthony Richardson's game, and it's something that Shane Steichen has really tried to root home with a lot of people, but a lot of people don't really want to, or either don't know about it or don't want to know about it. And that's that Anthony Richardson's a very smart dude. Even for as young as he is, Cody, we've talked about his maturity. And his maturity has helped him in wanting to grasp onto all things football. And it's really helped him to go a long way, in that he knows when and where to go with the football a lot of times. It's just the execution. And the execution, that's the thing that's easier to train, because you can go out there and throw 100 balls and then get much better with, how that works. But it takes months and months and months of being able to understand how a defense works. And the fact that Anthony Richardson knows it and understands it already is a great thing about it. So, I mean, he's got a lot going for him right now. Like you said, there's a lot more things that he needs to work on. And there's going to be some more aspects to his game that we're going to see with now the pads are coming out. As we said in another video, of the pads are going to come out. We're going to see who is going to really help Anthony Richardson this year. So now we're going to see what happens. But I'm very excited to see Anthony Richardson do what he has done so far this year. And if he can keep that rolling through the next couple weeks, that's going to be great for us. Do you think also, Cody, I was wondering about this as we were sitting here. Do you think that last year you had, remember last year he had to compete with Gardner Minshew through the majority of training camp to try to win that starting job, right? Well, now we sit here now and say, we know Anthony Richardson is our guy. There is no competition. There is no contest to see who is going to be the starter. Anthony, you are our number one. Let's work with you here on this. Let's get that to it. Do you think that played a role a little bit too, maybe to the, I wouldn't necessarily say indecisiveness, but do you think that was in Anthony Richardson's head at all last year? And maybe now there's less having to worry about that, and he's just now focused on just what's happening on the field?
Maybe to some degree. I mean, you feel that pressure, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, I think also, like, within that, just being a rookie versus a second-year guy, I mean, so many things, so many probably questions and things that AR was maybe even worried about last year. It'd be just naturally as a rookie. Like, and I think also competing, maybe played a part in this, but I think maybe now that there's such a difference in, now you kind of know what's going on, a little bit more. Like you don't feel like you're a deer in the headlights sometimes. Like you're that first year guy, with all these vets. Like now you're a part of the team. You've been a part of the team for the entire year. And I just think that just naturally with guys, like you're just going to feel more comfortable. And so I think now AR is maybe allowed and able to, and has allowed himself, I think, to become just more loose and just more like in it, and more focused in certain ways. I mean, I don't think he was not focused last year. Don't hear me saying that, but I think just naturally, that's just something that's going to happen. And it's kind of nice to not feel like you have a guy breathing down your neck as well. That's definitely a positive thing. And AR is not a guy that I think is going to okay, I'm the starter, so I'm not going to put in the work. Like he's not that. He doesn't strike me as that kind of kid, right? He's a kid that's going to continue to try to get better, going to push himself. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good question, but I just think just naturally by year number 2, it's just different. It's just a different mindset. So I just feel like personally for me that's kind of where AR is, and he's able now to just be like, I'm the guy, just got to get better every day, and that's my focus right now. So that's kind of how I feel about it. But yeah, that's a good question. I do wonder if that was part of it a little bit.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, guys, let us know your thoughts on Anthony Richardson so far through camp. Obviously, it's still very early, but we just want to get your guys' thoughts on what we've seen from AR so far. And I'm sure there will be times where it's not always as perfect as it's been. There's been times where, where when the pads come on, AR might not have the greatest day. Like it might happen. He's still essentially a rookie out there in certain ways in game experience. So there's going to be some bumps. We know that's going to happen, but let us know so far, guys, what your thoughts are on the obvious, changes we've seen from AR so far through camp from year 1 to year 2 and what he's improved on in the short to intermediate game. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. But guys, that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, all that good stuff. We're going to keep covering Colts stuff for you guys. So you definitely want to be a part of what we're doing. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Thanks so much. And as always, go Colts.